Have you ever heard the phrase, you use it or lose it? Oftentimes this is in reference to something like our muscular strength, as in you use your quadriceps muscles or they'll actually diminish over time. This concept also applies to our brain, perhaps one of our most important organs. And in this video, I want to just share with you a couple little tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your brain power. Going to help you with things like improving your memory or learning new skills. So thank you so much for joining me. So one of the best ways to keep your brain functioning at its optimal is to use your brain more and challenge it to continue learning new things. However, this can sometimes feel a little difficult or a little intimidating because learning new things is difficult. And anytime we're introducing something that we've never done before to our brain or our body, so whether we're talking mental or physical type of activity, that first time we do it, we're probably not going to excel. But chances are, even if you just sleep on it and come back the next day, by the second time and the third time and fourth time you come back to that activity, you'll be so amazed at how far you've come. So this video is brought to you by Blinkist. This is a really cool app that gives you super concise kind of summaries of all of these amazing nonfiction books. So you are actually able to learn a huge amount of information while you're on the go. And there's a super easy link at the bottom of each Blinkist blink, or the end of each book, where you can order the book right there from the app. I have a special link down in the description below for you so that you can try it out for free. And if you decide to go ahead and sign up, then there's a big discount for you included as well. So I have loved using this. I've learned a lot of cool stuff from it, and that's part of what I'm sharing with you today. And I also love it because it gives me a chance to kind of preview books to find out if it's something that I actually want to take the time to order and then read that book. So I love this ability to kind of get a little snapshot of a lot of different authors, a lot of different topics, and just keep my brain going. So Blinkist is a wonderful, wonderful way. If you're somebody who loves to read, but maybe you feel like you don't have the time to read because we're in this really fast-paced lifestyle, Blinkist is a great way to still get that awesome burst of information that when you read a new book, but in a lot less time. So use it or lose it. The synapses in our brain that actually carry different messages from one place to another do diminish over the course of our life. So it's really important that throughout the course of our lives, we actually encourage our body to keep reinforcing those different synapses. Or by the end of our lives, we'll actually have fewer synapses in the brain or fewer paths for messages to be sent throughout the body. So a great example of this is a study that they did where they scanned the brain of taxi drivers in New York City. And they found that these taxi drivers actually had a much larger hippocampus, a certain area of the brain, which is related to spatial memory and spatial relationships. So what they were actually able to show in this study is that after years of navigating the streets of New York, these taxi drivers had actually enlarged the hippocampus, enlarged this region of the brain simply by always recalling that memory and always using that part of the brain. Part of the reason that we actually lose some of those synapses over the course of our life is because our body is really designed for efficiency. And if the body isn't using something, then it's going to say, hey, for efficiency, we're going to let go of that and put our energies somewhere else. So you can actually use this to your advantage simply by changing up your daily activities. So for example, rather than trying to always be relying on looking up someone's number in your phone, maybe challenge yourself to try and start memorizing phone numbers again. Remember when that was all we did was memorize everyone's phone number? Another example would be when you are in a restaurant, rather than getting out your calculator to calculate the tip, actually do the math in your head. Or at any point, maybe you're in the grocery store and, mental math as you're adding up items. Anything that you do to tell your body, hey, I need that area of the brain. I need that ability to do math in my head or to memorize things. It's actually going to help tell your body not only to reinforce those synapses, but to become stronger in that area of activity that you are challenging it to do on a regular basis. Another great example application is in the practice of yoga. So the more that we are doing certain activities in repetition, we'll actually make those synapses so strong that the body is able to do those motions subconsciously. And part of the reason that yoga is such a fantastic moving meditation, and that it can have so many profound benefits, not only for our physical body, but our ability to focus, our ability to handle stressful situations, our ability to think clearly and make good decisions, is partly because these physical movements that we're doing in the practice actually kind of start getting committed into our subconscious. And it's kind of giving our conscious mind an opportunity to either tune in more to a different aspect of the pose, or to maybe just really tune into that focus on our breath, or focus on our drishti if we are trying to do a balancing posture. So let me give you an example here. This is taken from one of the highlighted sections. Another cool thing about this app is as you're going through the blinks, you can highlight a section and then it's saved in this separate part of the app, so it's super easy to go back and find. So I highlighted this little section. Basically, they're talking about, they've hooked up 2 people to an EEG machine. So they have one person who has never completed the task before, and they have another person who is a champion at this task. It's actually a 10-year-old, but he is somebody who is a champion in this area of the activity, and he's done it thousands of times probably. So looking at the EEGs of their brains while they're doing the exact same activity, they were able to see that for the person who's doing this for the very first time, the brain is firing on hyperdrive, okay? There is a lot going on. There's a lot of energy being devoted to this new task. But for the 10-year-old who has done this task hundreds, maybe thousands of times, his brain is almost completely at rest. So what this tells us is that practiced activities are actually performed subconsciously. So by the time you are coming back and you're repeating an activity or an exercise or whatever it might be several times, your brain actually kind of commits it to the subconscious. So now your brain, your active brain, your conscious mind can be focused on something else or can be completely at rest while you're doing that activity, even if it's something physical such as yoga. So as we're talking about practice and we're talking about things like yoga, it kind of brings up this other element of the brain, which is this kind of constant struggle that we are in between our conscious and our subconscious. So it turns out that our subconscious mind actually tends to be the major decision maker. So even though in our conscious mind, we can think a lot about, I want to make healthier choices, I want to go to the gym more, I want to work out more, I want to do more yoga. The part of the brain that actually makes the decision to hit the snooze button or turn into the McDonald's parking lot or whatever is actually the subconscious mind. And there can kind of be this struggle between our conscious and our subconscious, and that's part of the reason why it can be really easy to sit there with a lot of grand ideals about how we want to do this thing or that thing, but then also feel like it's really hard to actually start that thing or actually do that thing, no matter how much we consciously want to do it or know that we need to do it. So just bringing your awareness to this idea that our subconscious is the decision maker, I think is a really important part of starting to find that happy medium between the two, finding that place where we can actually reconcile our subconscious desires and our conscious desires to do things that are more healthy for us. And just kind of knowing that our subconscious mind is very short-term gratification oriented. It's very hard for our subconscious to be thinking about long-term goals or thinking about all of the reasons why we would choose a salad over a hamburger or something like that. So this book, The Brain, has a lot of different ideas on how you can bring better balance between that conscious and subconscious mind. But just giving you that information to ponder on in both your conscious and subconscious, I think is a really good place to start. I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and I really hope that you've learned something fun and interesting in this video. I want to thank Blinkist for sponsoring this video, and I really hope that you will check it out. So I wish you the very best. I wish you the most positivity and motivation in all of your health and wellness endeavors, and I really look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for watching.